Good morning, good evening, wherever you're tuning in and watching the World's Principal Leader series, you're very, very, very welcome. I am Michael Hastings, Professor Hastings. I also have the title of Lord Hastings. I'm a member of Parliament in the United Kingdom in the House of Lords, and my fellow professor, Professor Boyd Craig, and I work together on a teaching series at the Stephen Covey Institute, part of the Huntsman Business School at Utah State University. We're helping our students to understand how to lead in a world of constant change. And this series of special speaker talks is a unique way of bringing some of today's great leaders, people who've had to live difference and be difference and to live by principle, to our students to help them to see that the ideas contained in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People are still effective today. Our first guest, a remarkable man, Eddie Jaku, now 100 years old. But when he was but 99, he did a TEDx talk in Sydney, Australia. We're going to show that to you first, and then a special interview, which we did with him this week. So here is the living reality of a man who survived Auschwitz, the Second World War, the trauma of Hitler's vengeance against the Jews, lives on today and calls himself the happiest man in the world. Here's the TEDx first.
Good morning or good afternoon, students, Lord Hastings and Professor Boyd. It's my honor today to interview Eddie Jaku for you. You would have seen Eddie's TED Talk. And Professor Boyd, thank you so much for forwarding a set of questions. My name's Sandy Hollis. I'm one of the educators who has the honor of working with Eddie. And I will step aside and be the conduit of your questions for Eddie. So, thank you, Eddie. Eddie, I want to talk a little bit about your book. In your book, you talk about the lesson that your father taught you about how there's more pleasure in giving than in taking. Can you speak about how that has influenced the way that you treat other people, both your friends and your enemies?
Yes, my father, when I was 8 years old, I didn't understand that when my father said to me, there's more pleasure in giving than taking. I thought he was cuckoo. But now that I'm father and grandfather and great-grandfather, I see what you give, you get back. You give nothing, you get nothing back. There's a saying, like I made a business, and my children didn't even know that they were part of my business. Only when I finished my business, I gave them something, they thought it's a present. It was a dividend on the investment, the money I put for them. I created this company. And they got money when I've liquidated, naturally big money. And so I done everything because my sons or my children or your children, they didn't ask to come. We made them for our pleasure. We owe them to look after them till they can look after themselves. But they owe us respect. Now I can tell you I'm the only one who is today in Monty in an aged care center, and my children come every day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And the other day I said, what about coming every 2nd or 3rd day? So my son said, you don't want us to come? Oh no, I want you to come. But why you're coming every day? You have family, you have to pick up children and grandchildren from school. They said, Dad, if you will live 150 years, we will not be able to pay you back what you've done for us. And this is very nice. I had a great pleasure to hear that.
Oh, beautiful. What a lovely thing to say. Eddie, you talk a lot about Kurt, your friend, in your book.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Kurt?
Yes. I met Kurt in a camp in Belgium. We were both German, German Jews, but we were in a camp with 4,000 Germans. Mostly, very few, maybe 600 Jews and 4,000 Christians. They were communists, socialists, ex-ministers. There were all sorts of people. And we started to talk, and suddenly we found that we had the same background. We had the same kind of parents. He had a sister, I had a sister. He had many uncles and aunties. I did have this. But unfortunately, his parents were killed in 1933 because they resisted in Berlin. They moved from Königsberg to Berlin. In Berlin, there was some pogroms, and the synagogue they visited, when her father and mother came out, they bashed them to death. He didn't see it. He was at home. He was small, and so the cousin from him took him in, and she moved to Belgium. And when he escaped, like me, Germany, to Belgium, he lived with his cousin. Cousin was living in England before, and she moved to Belgium. So we had a lot in common, and we became the best friend you can imagine. It is incredible how close we became. I would give half of my food anywhere where we were together if he was in trouble, and he would give the same to me, and he proved this. Later in the life, he was more lucky than me, because the German had all what I can do, what I can't, where I worked and everything. But from Kurt, they didn't have. And when they asked him what he was his profession, he said shoemaker. He never saw a shoe inside, a part of his arm. And he became a shoemaker. So in Auschwitz, he was there all day, inside in the room, not walking to work like me, 1.5 hours to work in the morning, 1.5 hours in the afternoon, in the rain, in the cold. So you can imagine. But Kurt was always, he could organize food inside the camp when it was, something was left, and he would hold for me. He always had me in mind. Like me, when I had in Auschwitz potatoes, he was sharing the potatoes with me. So friendship is more than money. Friendship, unfortunately, some people are not made to be friends. After a while, friends looking for faults with a magnifying glass. I said, they open your head and they look for faults. That's the worst thing you can do. Friends, you take as a second self. You have faults, they have faults. You get used to them, and his faults become mine, and my faults become him. That is real friendship. And that is very nice.
That was a really beautiful response, Eddie. Thank you. Eddie, in your book, you talk about your education and how important that was for you to survive. Do you have any advice for the students about how they should approach their education and their work ethic?
Yes. If you are healthy and sportive and do everything what you should, like not smoking and not drinking too much, education is the future for any young man or woman. It will take you in different atmosphere. It will take you in different places. It will open up to make you a better life. While you're young, you have this choice. When you get too old, that's very difficult. That's why I advise everybody. School is important. University is important. If you feel that in any field you're better than in others, try to drive to that field and become more than just average. To me, my education is part of that I am alive, because I was needed. And this is the wise advice and the action taken by my father to make me go 860 kilometers from my parents, to be under a false name. It is incredible. From 1933 October till November 1938, I was Walter Schleif. A horrible thing to be, I can assure you. If I count the hours which I cried in the night, why am I so far from my mom? But then I heard my father saying on the phone, I know it's hard, Eddie, but one day you will be very grateful. I can tell the world I couldn't be more grateful. I would never reach that time. I would give up.
Eddie, tell us about Floor.
When Belgium, I was deported to Auschwitz by the Belgian police. And when I came back to Belgium on the border, they wouldn't let me in. So I said, you're in Brussels, your people have sent me to the death camp, and now you have to give me the opportunity to stay until I have somewhere where to emigrate. So they gave me 6 months to stay. I came back to Brussels and I found my friend Kurt. We lived together in a very nice apartment. And we had also right to double rationnement. Everything was rationed. You couldn't buy butter, cheese, meat, all this. You had to have stamps from the town hall. I went to the town hall to get my stamps. The girl saw my number on my arm. She went inside. Floor was the secretary of the town mayor of Brussels, Monsieur Martin. She came out. I saw her. She was beautiful, dark hair, very nice, the right size. And I fell in love. And I worked on it. She came to a canteen where all the refugees come and Jewish military. And she fell in love probably too, because 7 months later we are married. We were married on the 20th. I met her in September 1945, and we married in April 46. And my boss, I was the foreman of a machinery factory, and my boss was my best man. He took me under the chuppah, and we are married on the 20th of April this year. We'll be married 75 years. We had a very happy life. Even that we argue, we never argue in front of the people, of the children. Also, I know when to speak and when not to speak. If she gets nervous because she's hot-blooded, I stumm. I don't answer. 2 hours later, she rings me on my mobile and she apologized. You see, today the people speak without thinking. And normally you should think and then speak. Because if you say the wrong word, you can apologize 100 times. This word will stick and will hurt your best people, the people you love. That is with whom you fight, you argue. And it's better not to argue. There is no winner and loser. And that is the beauty of life. You can't have everything. We all have faults, nobody is 100%. I believe every woman is made half good and half bad. Not the men. The men are bad or good, not halfway. So I believe I can live with any woman. I will cultivate the good part and push away the bad, because perfect does not exist. Nobody is perfect.
Eddie, thank you. We're going to finish off now. Eddie, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to tell the students?
Sure. Never give up when you're down. Never. After rain comes sunshine. I have a wonderful life because I have not wanted, when I wanted to commit suicide, my friend says no. And when he wanted to commit suicide, I said no. This is why I say, l'union fait la force. Together we are strong. Alone we're nothing. Life is not made like that. It has ups and downs. But after the downs, you come back up and you enjoy even more. The part that you are in a permanent illness, that's bad luck. But if you're normal and healthy, naturally, you have to help a bit. You don't have to follow the style. If the people smoke, don't smoke. If the people drink, don't drink. Everything has to be done in moderation. Whatever you exaggerate will hurt you. I don't drink and I don't smoke. I drink a glass of red wine with my meal, but that's all. I drink one glass of beer when it's hot because it cools you off and you are in company. But for going for a drink, just for a drink, then I have coffee. That's all. So I want the world not to give up. Life is there. Life is to enjoy. But life is also to give, not only enjoy yourself. Today, the people running after money. Money makes you and breaks you. Life is badly made because when we are young, we have the health and no money. Then we work hard and we have money, but then we lost our health. So you have to combine a little bit. Come back, don't run so much. Think what you want to do. Fall in love with your profession. Your profession gives you satisfaction. Profit by that. Every time that I make instruments or a nice car or I repair something, I look at it and I try it. If it's not 100, but it's 99.9%. That is my satisfaction because I am a professional. There is no profession who has only good side. Every profession has bad and a good. But I speak a lot when you took me to the schools, to that reunion of 1,000 teachers. This was for me a very, very happy event because that gave me opportunity to tell those teachers that many of your students will take the advice you give them. They can be good, they can be bad. So I said they're good teachers who do their profession right and send the young children in a good future. There's people who don't care, some teachers, and they don't emphasize on what's good and right, what's good and bad, and right and wrong. And the children don't learn much. And that it is important not to enter. In Germany, parents cannot interfere. They are locked out. The moment you put your child in a school, you give the school this opportunity to form your child. If you interfere, then you take your child out and teach it yourself. I was speaking to Kampala the other day. They have a lot of trouble because the parents think they know better than the headmaster and than all the teachers in the world. And that's wrong. And that is interfering. And if you interfere in Germany, you say, please pick up your child, take her home. It's not. And so, but never give up, never give up. And then we are here, and you have people in England where I'm speaking to now, you have people you can have confidence and advice, you can go to people which you like and they will advise you like me. I'm not unique. I was just one of them.
Eddie, I'm going to come into the camera now just to say
Come in.
say that we think you are pretty unique, and I want to thank you and thank the students, Professor Boyd, Lord Hastings,
thank you
for spending time with us today.
I hope I make an impact on you and help you to become like me, successful, kind, and respectful. That is important.
And even more important, we hope that one day they will all come to the Sydney Jewish Museum and meet you in person.
Yes, of course. Give me another few years.
Eddie, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
Successful, kind, respectful. What a remarkable man, and what an incredible story to hear his love for his wife. What a short space of time, and 72 years thriving, and thriving through the trauma of great oppression and evil, and in the face of it. So we're grateful to the Sydney Jewish Museum for assisting us to have that interview with Eddie Jaku, and we're grateful to you for listening, for watching, for participating. Thank you. See you again next time.